Welcome all. This is Kenneth McFarland on the McFarland Report. And first I would like to congratulate our new mayor. We have one now. In the name of Mayor Robert Smith, congratulations to him. We wish him great success in the time of transition and growth for our community. And speaking of transition and growth for our community, one issue continues to be raised in this community is the issue of education. Education is so important. So today we have for you the Superintendent of Columbus Municipal School District, Dr. Lester Beason.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you. Also, we cannot talk about education without speaking to the parents. This day we have in the name of Lori Pierce. You're the parent of three lovely children.
Three wonderful children.
Girls, boys?
2 girls, 1 boy.
Oh, great. Welcome both of you. Thank you so much for talking to us today about education and where we need to go from here.
Well, thank you for having us. I know for myself it's a pleasure for us to be able to come and talk to you.
Dr. Beason, as superintendent, as an educator, explain to us the role. What do you do as a superintendent?
Gosh, you know, my role is really varied. We used to think that what we did was work with curriculum and instruction, and that's what we did all the time. But now we know that the role of the superintendent is a broad role which involves not only curriculum instruction, but the development of the community, the quality of life for the community, and being an active participant in community affairs. So it's a multifaceted role, one that's challenging, but one that has a great benefit for the community.
Oh, great. You do quite a bit.
I enjoy it. I like it. It is a challenge, and it's all about youngsters. And as you know, we can't do this in isolation, and we have a parent here who's a very good example of that. So for me, it's a rewarding career.
Well, we've had so much in the news these days. There's been a number of incidents around security in these school systems, multiply across the country. While I understand we have not many serious security issues here in Columbus, tell me just a little bit about what do you ensure the safety of the kids being today?
You know, we were one of the first school districts, maybe the first school district in Mississippi to have our own security force going back to 1992. So we have 13, 14, 15 or so years of experience in school security, which is not a guarantee that nothing will happen, but it does give us a background of experience. And what we have are fully certified school resource officers. And when I say fully certified, I mean they are police officers, certified as police officers. So we do have a security team. We also have surveillance cameras and other kinds of things that we have on various campuses. The events recently are tragic events and remind us that, you know, we have to take precautions every day, and that's why, you know, if you're a parent or a visitor and you come in the school and you start down the hall, someone's going to intercept you and ask you to come to the office and let us know who you are and so forth. And sometimes it's a little aggravating, but you know, when we're looking at the security of youngsters and the safety of youngsters and staff, it's important for us to do that. So we're reviewing, you know, our outside exits and entrances for all of our schools. We're trying to be assured that classroom doors are closed during the day and that we're monitoring who's in the building at all times and those kinds of things. And we also do some other things that we look at activity on school network in terms of our students chatting about things that might give us a clue.
Are you watching?
We watch. Yes, we do. We watch constantly.
Now, I hope the kids are listening to this. Now, you know, we just had an incident. It's not too far from home. As a matter of fact, I believe it's in West Lowndes. They just had a bomb threat or bomb scare, if you will. Now, those are some issues that I know that parents are concerned about.
Very.
So, tell me, how many police officers do you think do you have? And
you know, we were the recipient of a grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, and so we're adding 2 police officers this year, and we'll have 7 police officers, fully uniformed, equipped police officers in our schools.
That's great.
With equipment, with transportation, and the tools they need to try to respond to incidents and to help at any location. They're stationed and they have assignments so that they can go from their primary location to another location quickly. And so they don't drive across town, they're close by, and they can respond quickly.
Now, they caught this perpetrator very quickly, so I'm glad that you guys are on top of it. I know that we are feeling more comfortable when this happened. Now, we don't want to be so defensive, and we don't want to get you defensive, but tell us a bit about the levels, and I understand that many people are now pointing to those ways to elevate schools or berate schools concerning the levels.
You know, levels, I have said for years since I've been acquainted with them that they are a good measure, but they are not the best measure of a school. The best measure is how does the school address the needs for the individual youngster. Some students who are advanced students have specialized classes for them, and if you have a youngster that's advancing quickly, you may need to look at a school that has that. And the level may not reflect the availability of that class for your youngster. So I just say that the level is a general measure, but if you really want to know what's going on in the school, you have to go to the school and look at the data and the information. If you base decisions just on the level, you're probably missing the best part of what's going on in a school.
And I believe that, but you know, the crunchers and those that are doing the things they're doing are looking at these levels. So how are these levels determined?
Well, the levels are determined by using a formula, which I won't go into detail. But
I've looked through that formula, and it is complicated.
It is very complicated, but what it does is it looks at student performance versus growth, expected growth, and so forth, and then all of that gets into the formula, and each part of it has a segment that plays a piece in coming up with a final number. And then once that number is identified, then you just simply look across the page and say, okay, it's level 3 or level 5 or level 1 or level whatever it is. And there's no room in that for unexpected occurrences, which is something that I've voiced my opinion about, and I'm not certain that's the best way to determine the level of the school when you look at the total school. If you only want to know how a student did on a test, it's okay, because that's just how they did that one day on that one
And
day.
every kid does not take tests as easily as others.
No, they don't, and we try to prepare students for that.
But Ms. Pierce, now how did you feel? How did you react when you first learned of this, the drop in the levels? And did you feel like that your kids were getting a worse education?
That wasn't my reaction. My reaction first was I know that the teachers and the administration were disappointed because a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on those levels, and we did when I was in a level 5 school the first year and level 5 school the second year. We had a fantastic celebration, patted ourselves on the back. The kids did a great job. And one of the other things too, when we talk about the formula, we need to remember that that level is a moving average, because a level is based on how you compare against the performance of the average student in Mississippi. So a level 3 means your students performed at the level of most other students in Mississippi, the average. And the 4 and the 5, so you're grading on a curve. So if everybody improves, there still has to be schools that are less and more, so it's not a firm standard. It's not the same standard every year.
So all of it could be going up.
All of it could. I mean, I don't know that, but it's on a curve, so it's not like this school was performing at a 90 and they went to a 70. It could be that everybody moved up to an 85.
Now, do you know that?
You know what is really wonderful for me sitting here is this is a parent who has taken the time to understand
Very
this.
well informed.
And not very many of our parents could sit at this table today and talk to you in these terms. And so, you know, I'm really, really happy to know that there's someone out there who really understands, you know, what testing is and what it does.
Well, we have to educate our parents. We have to actually get them to know what it is we are doing with our children. And this is why we have this program, and we have wonderful guests like yourselves to let them know what it is that we're doing. Now, you had so many options, had a number of options, and what you could have done is it relates to private school, and most people, a lot of people, not most, choose to go to private schools, or even what we hear about homeschooling. Tell us the top 3 reasons why you chose public schools.
Well, in a nutshell, quality of education, quality of education, quality of education. But I can give you 3 really. I mean, obviously the quality of education was the most important criteria that we looked at, because I looked at test scores, I talked to parents, I called the school district, I did a lot of research on educational outcome test scores and such. So that was the #1 criteria. We want our children to get a good education. And I had talked to parents whose children are now in college that have gone all the way through the Columbus Municipal School District and are now at the top of their class. They can compete with the best students in the nation at the top universities because they've gotten a good education. But beyond that too, there were a couple of other considerations we had, and we've talked about safety. Safety was an issue. I wanted my kids to be somewhere safe, but also safe for us, safe from some of the peer pressure that I think goes on in the public school or in the private schools, because you've got a more homogenous group of children. I felt like I could deal with the issues in the public school for myself easier than sometimes I could with that peer pressure that I felt my children might get sometimes in the private schools. And then the third one is we wanted our children to understand that we valued relationships with all kinds of people. And that meant all the students that we went to school with. We didn't want to go to school with everybody just like us. We wanted our children to meet the people from the community.
And that is so important. That is absolutely important. If we're going to live in a diverse community, we have to start doing this. Now, you represent parents very well. I can see why the superintendent.
I represent me.
I am having such a great time.
I'm one of those overly involved parents, perhaps.
But that's a good thing. We're going to come right back. We'll be right back, and then we're going to hear from Dr. Beason on the future of Columbus Municipal Schools District and all the new plans coming from the link. That's going to be very important. And other suggestions of other racial changes. Is that radical? Radical changes. Let me get back to you. This is Kenneth McFarland with the McFarland Report.
Will Colum's dad used to say, if you don't keep your promises, you can promise anything. At the Colum Law Firm, we always try to keep our promises in keeping our community safe from those who pollute it, those who fail to protect our workers, and those who deceive their customers. Some lawyers promise a fast buck, something for nothing. We ask juries for what's fair, nothing more, nothing less. The Colum Law Firm, a different kind of lawyer.
On-Time Transportation, Stephen and Paula James would like to serve you. Professional service 24 hours a day. Call them at 662-241-6600 or go to their website www.ontime-ms.com.
Give us a call at On-Time Transportation, where we will meet all of your transportation needs on time.
Serenity Christian Supplies, located at 1906 Military Road, Columbus, Mississippi. Call us at 662-328-4445. We want to supply all of your Christian supply needs. Here at Serenity Christian Supplies, we have it all. Pete and Anika Perkins, realtors at JTS and Company. Call them at 662-329-9090 or 662-242-1694. They are located on 114 4th Street South, or write them, P.O. Box 1071, Columbus, Mississippi 39703. Call Pete and Anika Perkins. They are the family that can get you into a home. Welcome back to this program. Dr. Beason is here, and our lovely parent today, Mrs. Lori Pierce. We're happy to have you, and this is the superintendent of Columbus School District, and also the parent of 3 lovely children here in the school system here in Columbus, Mississippi. Right. It is so great to have you guys here. Ms. Pierce, as a follow-up to the question that we asked before, now we know that the racial makeup is a bit difficult. Now, were you discouraged when you thought about putting them in the school system here or in private schools, or did you just make a decision on they needed to be around minorities? Tell us a little bit about why you made that decision.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It was something we looked at very, very seriously. But We looked at that, and then we also looked at the percentage of students that got free lunches at the school, which is also high. And frankly, that was a little bit more of a concern because that tends to follow achievement more than race would necessarily. But we have always felt that we wanted our children to know the people that we lived with and not feel like they were in a subset and either different, better, whatever words you might want to put with that, from everyone else that they lived with in the neighborhood and worked with in the city. And we want our children to understand all people.
Oh.
And so I looked at test scores and I looked at what the school looked like and felt like if they've got a high percentage of low-income students and they can still get these kind of test scores out of them, they must be doing something awful good.
This is great.
Awfully
and I'm
good.
glad that you recognize that early on, that where your kids are living and what is going around them, you can't take them out of that and then train them, then put them back into that, because it's going to be very difficult for them.
Well, I grew up in Arkansas in a public school, racially divided, and if I had not had those experiences growing up with students who were different from me, I would have never found the opportunity to interact with them as an adult.
That is awesome. That's good looking out.
Trying.
What are your 3 biggest challenges and the objectives that you're going to be doing to improve our school system?
Well, one of the biggest challenges we have right now is how to anticipate the growth in the county and what it means for the Columbus Municipal School District, and trying to understand what the school population might look like and what the community population might look like is a challenge. We know, for example, we're seeing more students who are coming to us who are non-English speaking students, and how we're going to work with that group of students and those kinds
Now,
of
that's a big issue now.
It's
Speaking
not
Spanish.
huge, but we know that it's going to grow, and we know that it's going to reshape our district some and also reshape the community. We know that in Columbus, we're going to be looking very carefully at how we are able to finance schools in the future. Columbus needs to grow, and we need to have a growing tax base. And while that doesn't sound much like an education problem, a school problem, it is for us.
You're looking at the big picture.
We are looking at the big picture. Instructionally, we have 2 major things we have to look at. One, everyone's talking about the dropout problem. The dropout problem doesn't start at high school. Dropout problem starts at the early ages, and we see the results at the upper grade levels.
Right.
So we have to reshape what we're doing for some youngsters who are struggling. The second big issue that we're going to have to find a way to address is we know what to do with lots of students who are struggling. We have lots of students who are striving who need to be able to go further. And so we've been talking about some things like early college, high school, middle college, high school, dual enrollment, seamless transitions to post-secondary study, trying to move some post-secondary study to the high school level so that students can go more quickly into college degrees or their chosen career fields. So just the nature and change of the workforce and how to get our youngsters more invested in their own education are going to be really big challenges for us.
Oh, great. Now, you got those under control as I'm hearing you now.
I can't say we're under control, but what I can say is we're focusing our attention very much on those issues.
Now, Ms. Pierce, now, what do you think the parent role versus the school board's role, or the school's role, in a good education for our kids?
Well, first of all, we need to understand that the school board and the parents are a team.
No.
And I don't think we always understand that we really should be working together. We have the same goal, and that's good education for our children. One of the things that I found was very helpful for me was to get inside the school building as frequently as possible, volunteering the skills that I had, or even just the time that I had, to read to classes, to help the teachers, to get to know them, so that when there were things that happened, I was there to hear about it. I didn't have to have a note sent home. I didn't have to have a teacher call me if there was something going on. And not that I've had a lot of those issues, but I was there the minute some little thing happened. And one of the things that I discovered as I did my research looking into schools and where to go, when I talked to those public school parents, every public school parent that I talked to, both before I moved here and even now since, has been happy with their students in the school. Now, I spent a lot of time this summer talking with, we've got new people coming in with the Sever Corps being built. I talked to a lot of people who've come in to help build the plant, involved with that. Many of them are in the public schools, and they're very happy about it. But they come in and they get involved, and they meet the parents, they meet the teachers, they meet the administration, and they become part of that team. And when we work together, then great things happen.
Well, since you said that, and I want to ask the question about that, now you have those parents that do and those that don't, and that's a critical component of what we need to do. So how do you feel we should maximize trying to get those parents that don't to step up to the plate?
Well, let me tell you, I have a couple of ideas. One that I'm actually implementing at SAIL this year is a program that the National PTA has endorsed called 3 for Me. And it's simply asking every parent to find 3 hours in the school year, that's sometime between September and May, that they can come in and volunteer in the school, or that they can help to do something from home. And just get that small commitment to get them through the door or get them involved and get them volunteering will help. And I said 2 ideas, and now I can't make it what the second
Well, you know, it's their children. And
it's
their children, it should be important. And I believe all parents love their kids. They just need your input and your input to know what to do. Some parents are sitting here now and saying, I'm trying to do everything I know to do. So if you can give those ideas and put those out there, then they can actually step to the plate. And so I like that. That's a good idea.
That's another good idea, to get the schools to recognize that if we tell parents what the opportunities are, that they will step up to the plate and do them. Because I have found that with the parents at SAIL. As the PTA president, when I ask them to do something, they're there and they support me.
When you ask them to do something, there you are. And that's what we're looking at now. Now, Dr. Beason.
Can I throw in one other
Please,
point?
please.
This is my own idea, and I haven't really voiced it a lot to other folks, but especially when we talk about what the league has been doing, when the business people are talking about what can we do to support education, one of the things that my husband did before we ever had children, his company allowed him to go to the school and volunteer. Paid for his time to spend time in the public schools. If we could get this community and perhaps the business leaders to talk about that as an option, because especially with the parents that I know and deal with, work is the primary obstacle for them to be in the school because they're at work all the time.
That's a good word.
If their bosses and the business owners could say, you know, we could afford to pay them 1 hour a month to go and spend time in their children's school, it would be a win-win for everyone. There
again, you said that it was a partnership between the parents and the schools, but also the businesses. This helps all of us come together and do what our mission is, to make sure that we have those citizens that are responsible, intelligent, capable of doing those jobs that I know that you want them to do. So you're absolutely right. Now, Mr. Dr. Beason, I want to make sure that you get all the proper props. What are your thoughts on the role of the parents and the community?
Well, let me begin by saying you have a marvelous example of an involved parent here today who is not only focused on the school where her children attend, but on the school district. And I know that because she and a few other PTA presidents recently, among themselves, decided to meet and form a district PTA council.
Awesome.
And they are sharing across school lines, across grade lines. They're encouraging parent participation in numerous ways, reaching out to Parents for Public Schools, for example, and trying to build that total community support. And parents who are willing to invest in school district improvement help their school as well as the district. So, you know, my compliments to those parents who are willing to take that time and invest. And we had PTA presidents from Mitchell, Sale, Franklin and Fairview, and we're looking again for another meeting, and hopefully it will be scheduled so that we can have a broader participation. So we're really pleased when we have parents who are willing to take that leadership.
Now, this is the best part of the program for me, because now you're getting to the nitty-gritty of what we need to do in order to get our schools where they should be. And that's partly getting the parents involved in this school situation. Now, as a parent, now you've said a lot about what you've done. Now, tell us what you think that the parents should do. We're going to put it right on the table. What should they do as of next week to get involved and do what we need to do or get done?
Walk through the front door of the school to do something, whether it's to say hi, talk to the principal, eat lunch with your child, but be there.
Be there. Now come into the school.
Come into
just
the school.
Walk in, and you know, kids watch what's going around them, and they see other people coming in, and they sort of act a little better. You think?
They do, and the kids. I can tell you at Sale, and I also tutored. I was the French tutor for the district for a couple of years in Hunt and also at Franklin. So I know a few other schools in the district. I've had more experience than some parents with only a second grader and a kindergartner. Students know me because I go in that school. I see these kids in Walmart or at the restaurant or downtown, and they say hi because they recognize me and they know that I'm a parent who's in the school.
And you care.
And I do. I do. And they come up and give me hugs, and I give them hugs back and say hi. And
when you use your $2.50 worth of gas to come down, you care. And they know you care. This has been great. Dr. Beason, now, I would like to hear your last words. And can you tell us where you see Columbus school system and the education system going under your leadership and your board? And what kind of outline would you vision for us? And what are you putting in place to achieve all this?
We constantly work on where do we want to be 4 years from now, not just next year, but where do we want to be 4 years from now, and we talk about where we want to be 5 years and 10 years from now. Our vision for Columbus is to have a system so designed that students of all abilities can come to school and they can reach their potential. I personally am very, very interested in expanding, when we possibly can, our preschool services. We need youngsters who come to school who are really well prepared for kindergarten and so forth. We know that can happen from our experience in our preschool program. We also know that as those students move through, they will be much more powerful learners than they are now. We know that 5-10 years from now, we would like to see our facilities undergoing changes, updates, being maybe more attractive, but also being something that the community is very proud of and holds that out as a pride commitment that the community has made.
And if you'd like to submit questions, please send them to the email address that you see on the screen now, and we will get an answer back to you, I promise you, as soon as we can.